How do recruitment agency fees actually work in Malaysia? Here's the direct answer. Most agencies work on a contingency basis, which means you pay nothing until a candidate you hire actually starts. The fee is calculated as a percentage of that hire's first-year gross salary, not a flat rate and not an hourly rate. At Carriera, we're a licensed recruitment agency under Malaysia's Ministry of Human Resources, and this is one of the questions we get asked in almost every first conversation. So let's break down exactly how the fee works, what percentage you can actually expect, and why we don't publish a fixed number. Contingency means the agency searches, screens, and shortlists candidates at its own cost and risk, and only invoices you if you hire one of them. No hire, no fee. There's no upfront retainer, no deposit, and nothing owed if the search doesn't result in someone you're happy to bring on. That structure matters more than it sounds. It means the financial risk of the search sits with the agency, not with you. And because the fee scales with the candidate's salary, the agency is economically motivated to find you a genuinely strong hire, not just any warm body to close the file. There's no single national rate, but published market figures give a real range. According to one Malaysian recruitment source, contingency fees typically run from around 14 to 37% of the candidate's annual salary, depending on role complexity and seniority. Another Malaysian agency breaks it down by level. Roughly 15 to 25% for junior to mid-level roles, and 25 to 35% for executive or highly specialized positions. Here's a quick worked example using those published figures. If you hire someone at a 60,000 ringgit annual salary and the fee lands at 20%, that's a 12,000 ringgit invoice, but only after that person has actually started working for you. Treat these percentages as market context, not a Carriera quote. We scope every assignment first, because the right number genuinely depends on how difficult the search is. There are 3 broad ways to fill a permanent seat. Contingency, which we've just covered. You pay only on a successful hire. Retained search is different. Part of the fee is paid upfront to retain the agency, with the balance paid at shortlist and at hire. This model is usually reserved for senior, confidential, or genuinely hard-to-fill executive roles. And in-house hiring has no agency fee at all. But the cost doesn't disappear. It reappears as your own team's time, job board advertising spend, and the very real risk of a mishire that costs you months. Contingency sits in the middle. You get external search reach and professional screening, and the financial risk stays with the agency until you're satisfied. Because a single published rate would either overcharge a simple, fast search or undersell a genuinely difficult one. We scope the role first, its seniority, how scarce the right candidate is, how much assessment it needs. Then we quote, so you know exactly what you're paying for before any work begins. We deliberately don't flood you with unscreened CVs to look busy. Every candidate we put forward has been manually assessed against your specific requirements. To date, we've worked this way with over 50 companies. So, to recap the direct answer, recruitment agency fees in Malaysia are almost always contingency-based. You pay a percentage of the hire's first-year salary, and only once they've started, with published market rates roughly between 14 and 37% depending on seniority and difficulty. At Carriera, we scope every role and quote before any search begins. Quality over volume, no CV flood. If you've got a seat to fill and want a straight answer on what it would actually cost, message us on WhatsApp. That conversation costs you nothing, and the full written breakdown is on carrieragroup.com.my.